Let's talk about animals. I've been getting a lot of comments about animals. Are you afraid of dogs? How many encounters are you going to have with dogs? Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be discussing the good old anxiety questions. Things that you may be afraid to ask, things that may be going through your mind. You're not even sure, if it's a dumb question, the anxiety things that we deal with. When I first applied to the Postal Service, I remember being so anxious because I wasn't sure if it was the job for me, but not even just that. I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. So I found myself on Instagram hashtags and YouTube for days and hours, y'all. And I could not find anything that eased my anxiety. Because, with anxiety, we create things in our minds, right? So I'm going to help alleviate some of that for you, okay? Without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump in. Okay, so the first thing that I've been getting a lot of messages about is, and this is something that people may be scared to ask, do you get drug screened? The question to that answer is we used to, but when COVID hit, they decided to stop doing drug screens. They no longer drug screen, so that's one of the things that you will not have to do to get hired on at the Postal Service. However, I do believe that if you are in a situation at work after you get hired on and you may hurt yourself and it may seem like it's related to suspicious of drug activity or you may be drunk, whatever, I believe they can drug test you. So that's just something to look out for. But to, relieve your mind, no, they do not drug screen when you get hired on at the Postal Service. So let's talk about Driving Academy, LOV Academy. I did get a couple of questions on my video concerning the academy and the anxiety around it. And let me tell you, I was the same exact way, y'all. I'm talking about I was nervous because when I first got my driver's license, I was like that. But when you're driving on the right side of the vehicle, there is a lot of anxiety around, oh my gosh, am I going to pass? Am I going to fail? How is it like? Is it hard? And let me tell you, I worked myself up all the way up until the day. And then when I got there, I realized that even when I was there, I was still nervous. But I realized that we had all day to get it right. And it kind of, relieved some pain, some pressure on me a little bit. Because I realized that I had time. Okay, y'all, I could not see for shit. I'm sorry. I had to put my glasses on. Let's just be honest. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm back. But anywho, y'all, the Driving Academy. When you get there, they will give you cones and they will allow you to basically practice in the parking lot for maybe an hour or two at a time. Then you'll take a break. Then you'll practice again. You'll practice again. You'll practice again. You'll practice all day long. And then at the end of the day, that's when they'll test you. They will get in the car with you. You'll ride down the neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? And this is all in one day. They'll have a clipboard. It's just like driving school. The only thing is that you will not be parallel parking between no vehicles. There'll be cones. Everything will be cones. So basically, the only way that you're going to fail is if you hit something, literally. Like, if you hit something, then you'll fail. Other than that, you're good. Just practice, and take your time. And I promise you're going to pass. I've never witnessed, and mind you, got to think I've been to 2 LOV academies because I quit and came back, and both times I've never witnessed anybody in my class fail. We all passed. You would literally just have to have shaky hands and just super nervous. I'm talking about if you got Tourette's or something and you shake and stuff, then I don't think this is the job for you. But it's very rare that you don't pass. I will say this though. In your 90 days after you pass your LLV, do not get in an accident on the job. You will get fired. That's the only thing. And I know that people with anxiety also would love to hear just like other people's stories when it comes to the Postal Service, to kind of just give them an idea of what they may go through. And I'm going to insert a picture up here at the top right here for you. This picture right here is a picture of me in 2020 during the pandemic. During the pandemic was insane. You hear me? The volume was crazy. The hours were crazy. And one thing I learned about the Postal Service is seasons change. Holiday season, summer season, they change. So what you think you may get comfortable in, that may not be like that in a few months. You may be working 8 hours for 3 months straight, and then out of nowhere you're working 12s, 13s, 14s. So don't get complacent. This job is very militant, and I always put heavy emphasis on that because, like I said before, you work a lot. You barely see your family, and not even just that. There's no set schedule with this job. You never know when your day off is going to be. You only get one day off a week. Sometimes you don't get any days off for weeks, maybe months at a time. It can be very, very tough. I was telling my followers over on Instagram, Sheepa Curls, the same thing the other day. When I first got hired on at the Postal Service, one of the biggest reasons I resigned the first time was because I wasn't mentally strong enough to handle the job. One of the things that I learned after resigning from the position and taking almost 2 years to train my body is that you have to train your mind. You are going to want to have a very, very consistent schedule for yourself outside of work, because work isn't going to be consistent, remember? So that means at home you must be consistent. That means at home you must be very, very consistent on how you take care of you. When I resigned, I spent 2 years learning routine. That's sad. I didn't even understand routine. I never was taught as a child or as a teenager, so I literally had to learn to wake myself up at certain times, wake up, make my drink, take my supplements, work out, pray, just get into a routine. If that's something that you struggle with, if you have ADHD, just work on it, because I have ADHD as well. So that was something that was hard for me. Get into the consistency of showing up for yourself every single day. Where's my parents at? Where's my parents at? This one's for you. One of the biggest things that I highly, want to put emphasis on is having someone in your corner that you can vent to, that's going to remind you that you're still a good parent. You're going to have days where you don't feel like a good parent. You're going to have days where you feel like you're not a good parent, because you're literally missing out on so much when you are a CCA. It's not even funny. If you are a single mom, listen, I understand your pain, but as mothers, we have to do what we have to do to take care of our kids. And so don't ever give yourself a hard time, as far as feeling like a bad mom for doing what you need to do. But if you hang in there, it gets better, and you'll at least get your balance back and your time back with your children. So hang in there. And that's one of the things that I wanted to cover when it came to mothers, because I know how anxiety can be. We give ourselves a hard time for small things. So I just wanted to make sure that I'll let you know that you aren't alone. Being a mother is not easy, but we do this and we make it work. And so another thing that I really want to talk about as far as a CCA and things that may be going through your mind prior to the hiring process is the background process. Um, how does the background check work? How long does it take before you hear back? Should you look for another job in the process, etc., etc.? One of the biggest things that I did that I wish I wouldn't have done when I first started as an RCA was quit my job when I got the email back stating that I had the interview process going, and when I saw that email, I was just like, oh, I got it, so I'm going to quit. If you are watching this, and if you have been waiting for a very long time, hopefully you didn't do what I did, and you're not wondering, should you go find another job in the meantime? Because my question to you is going to be, yes. Run. I was silly. I didn't know. A lot of jobs, when they hire you or you hear something back from them, it's pretty quick. But with the Postal Service, it can be about four months. My bad. My answer to that is yes. Yes. It can take a very long time to hear back. For me, it was just like, it seemed like after one step was checked off, like the fingerprints, it took a month. I'm like, hey, how long am I going to hear back? After I got my fingerprints done, then I got a email stating to come down there because we're going to have an interview or something like that. After that, I didn't hear for about another month. I'm like, at this time, like, I'm hurting. I'm like, what am I going to do? I was couponing. I was like, what do I do? I didn't know what to do. So I waited it out, but it did take about 4 to 5 months. I'm not kidding. So do not quit your jobs if you have one. Hang in there. Just request a day off to handle it each time you get an email. Let's talk about animals. I've been getting a lot of comments about animals. Are you afraid of dogs? How many encounters are you going to have with dogs? Is it common? Etc., etc. Let's put it like this. I have not, and I'm going to pray to God that I don't. And when I say I have not, I mean I have not gotten bit. I've had encounters with dogs, but for the most part, if you are very, very observant of your surroundings, then you can determine how the situation plays out. I highly recommend that you are observant of your surroundings. Every time you get out your truck, every time you go on a gate, every time you go in a neighborhood that just all you hear is dogs, especially in the wintertime, that's when they lose the most. It's just be observant. I feel like the biggest thing that really, really should be, expressed enough is the proper gear that could make or break your day. During the cold, during the heat, during the rain, having the proper gear, even if you have to go and buy it on Amazon until you can get the proper gear through your allowance. Those type of things is so important. I mean, I'm serious. Being hot and miserable it's not fun. Being cold is even worse. I'd rather be hot. I'm sorry. Now wet and hot. Let me tell you something. The weather does affect your mental too. So, just if you haven't already gotten hired, but you know that you're in the process of getting hired, and you have extra funds, start buying certain things that you need now. Lose all expectations of friends and family. You're going to have to literally master detachment when you get this job. People aren't going to understand what you're going through. They're going to think that your job is the easiest job in the world. They're going to think you just tossing the mail out the truck. Your job is easy. Ain't no way this job is taking you through the freaking gutter. You ain't going through what you think you go. It ain't that bad. They going to try to water it down. You going to lose relationships, friends, family, partners. One of the biggest things that I learned in 2019 was that I allowed it to make me so weak in the knees, and it played a big part of me resigning. Just not being able to handle the things that take place with having this job, the losses of friends and relationships. You're going to have to be strong. Thankfully, I'm an introvert, so I'm already a loner. Now, I wasn't, I had maybe one or two people in my life that was close, but now I'm okay with the whole being alone thing. But one of the things you're going to have to master is this job is going to force you to be alone. So if you're running from anything, trauma, anything like that, listen, if you have trauma and you're dealing with some internal things, I would try to look into things that can help cope. You can cope, learning coping mechanisms. You're not going to have time for a therapist, unfortunately, unless you call that number. They do offer us a number that we can call if we need it. But just look into options to help you manage your triggers and your mental health. I'm putting heavy emphasis on the mental. I'm sorry, but I know this is a video for the people with anxiety, but listen, someone who has anxiety, I want to know every detail. At least I know. One thing about people with anxiety, we want to know the good, we want to know the bad, we want to know everything before we get ourselves into something. And one thing I'm gonna tell you is, if I've got extreme anxiety, then it is absolutely manageable for you to get this job. You just have to hang in there. It's like the military. I keep saying that. I think I've said that like 3 times already. But if you already been in the military, then you straight. I mean, if you've handled that, then you definitely can handle this job. I'm gonna say that. But that's just pretty much the rough end of it all, and I think I've kind of covered most of the details. What background? Let me get into the background check right quick. Someone did ask me, how long does that take and what is the process of that? So the background check is basically them just making sure that you don't have any type of felonies. So I was told that if you, depending on the felony, if it's something small, I believe if it's been over a long period of time, then you may be in the clear, depending on what that felony is. Very rare, and I've only heard one person tell me that, and that was someone that actually did get hired on, and he said it was from years back, and he was still able to get the job. I do remember him saying that. They don't check for anything outrageous besides like your criminal background, and your driving history. Your driving history does make a difference. If you've been in accidents, then you may not get this job. So yeah. Okay, y'all, I'm getting ready to close out. It is getting dark out here. I gotta go to work in the morning. And it is so hot. It is burning up out here today. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. If you found this information any, helpful at all, please give your girl a like and subscribe, and comment down below what else you may want me to discuss. If I missed out on anything, let me know, and I will do my best to create a video around that question. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Peace.